Veterans Day is Tuesday, and we'll no doubt hear stories of brave men and women who've done heroic things. But some veterans are shunned, and the heroic things we honor them for are the very things that leave them broken and shattered. This week's City Chronicles shares a story that ended badly for one man, but some local veterans turned it all around because they don't leave their own behind.
In 1972, Captain Charles Shunstrom died on the streets of Buffalo, New York. Some might argue that he died of a broken heart. You see, not all heroes have statues erected in their honor.
He passed away in the Riverside area, unemployed with a lot of troubles as a result of his combat service.
But it didn't always look gloomy for this courageous combatant. Once the future looked bright for this soldier.
He was a champion athlete, wrestling, boxing, gymnastics. He was an enlisted man for 2 years and then applied for officer candidate school and was accepted.
Rising through the ranks quickly, Chuck Shunstrom's natural leadership qualities took him right to the front lines.
He was in 6 major campaigns in Africa and Europe. In Italy, there was a fortified township that was held by the Nazis. Some thought it to be untakeable. Shunstrom took a group of his Rangers, and the Nazis, never expecting a frontal assault, took these men right up the main road, took out their machine gun nest, killed 30 enemy, captured 90, and paved the way for the rest of the Rangers to take this stronghold. He was captured later in Italy. 1 month later, he escaped. He turned his clothes out, went on the other side of the wire and acted like he was working, and sort of vanished into the woods.
Fighting heroic battles, a brazen escape from an enemy prison camp, and movie star good looks initially did not go unnoticed.
He was on national radio programs, traveled selling war bonds, and was actually courted by Hollywood as a technical advisor for the movie G.I. Joe.
But the brutality of war lingers long after the last shot is fired. In many ways, for Captain Shunstrom, when World War II ended, his war just began.
He had an altercation with a senior officer in an officers' club, and story has it that this other individual spoke of combat credentials that didn't exist, and Captain Shunstrom took exception to this, and a fight ensued. For that, Captain Shunstrom was given a dishonorable discharge.
The altercation with the superior officer began a downward spiral for this stalwart soldier.
His first wife said that Chuck was simply not the same man when he returned.
Beaten down, broken, and abandoned by the very people he had peril to protect, the captain couldn't even get basic dental care without getting kicked in the teeth.
He went to the Veterans Administration for some dental work. He was sent a large bill along with a letter stating that they didn't treat his kind, and because of his discharge he would pay this bill. He sat on a park bench with a bottle of whiskey and a pair of pliers and removed some of his own teeth.
But the vets of post-72 couldn't let this injustice go unrectified. They needed to make it right.
One of our earlier commanders, Frederick Garwal, contacted Jack Kemp, who was instrumental, Edward Kennedy as well. Over the course of 5 to 6 years, through Congress, they were able to overturn his dishonorable discharge because of an obvious case of what is now known as PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It's the same then as it was in Vietnam and as it is now in Iraq and Afghanistan.
You guys took a tragic ending and turned it around by doing the right thing.
He's just a man that fell through the cracks that we believe was a very special individual. We will keep his memory alive here in Kaisertown.
In Kaisertown, I'm Eddie Dobashevitz, and these are the Queen City Chronicles.
A powerful story to remember this Veterans Day.